Okay, well, we are back with Harrowings Live, the podcast with Kay Stoner, and we're going to be talking about the latest adventures in her work, which I've experimented with a little bit. We were talking a little bit about my experience with it. I used it on Gemini, and I used her team personas on Grok as well, but ran into a hiccup with Grok where it was not cooperative initially. But there's a workaround. So we talked about that. Harrowings is just scraping the surface. So let's go at it again. I think, Kay, this is like our 5th or 6th time together.
Something like that. Yeah. It's going to be a habit.
So what's new?
What's new? It's just like what isn't new. Yeah, like so it's like being in the generative space, one thing leads to another and leads to another, leads to another. And I've been doing a lot of thinking about what it means to be generative. Not just AI, but humans. I mean, we are super duper generative. It's kind of scary. And then when we team up with AI, it's like, oh my God. So I've been going down a bunch of little rabbit holes, here, there, and everywhere. And the brainstormers teams, I'm really, really happy with how they're working, like all across the board. So Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, and I've been, it's funny because I've been doing these custom GPTs with the brainstorm. I've been using my brainstormers custom GPT like all the time for about a year, and now and it's like it's wild to know that I'm not constrained to a certain platform. That I don't have to I don't have to, think, I don't have to worry about ChatGPT. I don't have to worry about OpenAI updating their model and doing this, that, and the other thing. That I can just fine. I'll find another model or do it locally on my device. I can do any number of things. And then if things aren't working out, I can just rip it out and put something else in.
So, giving a little context for anybody who's joining who has not talked with us before. So what we're talking about is using relational artificial intelligence personas to work with any large language model agnostically. And Kate has actually put out on her site, I think you can go out there and find her instructions that you can build your own and use her personas yourself and see how they work for you. So you want to talk about a little more about that in sort of in an introductory way for those people who are coming at us cold?
Sure, absolutely, yeah. And it's funny because this is one of the things. So I'm traveling this week. I'm up in Massachusetts for a week, a little over a week, seeing friends and family. I lived up here for about 30 years, and then I moved down to Delaware, close to my parents and one of my sisters. And so I'm driving along hands free, and I'm talking to one of my persona teams about this, and we got into talking about like what are persona teams exactly? What are these things? And, I've had people treat them very dismissively. They're like, like that's fine. You're just pretending to make them into people and, you're anthropomorphizing them and this, that, and the other thing. Let me tell you, that was never, ever my intention with these personas, because I saw early on that what looks like a person on the surface is actually a subset of very specific functionalities and capabilities that the models have. Have we really wrapped our heads around how much is in those models? There's like billions and trillions of like thingies in there. There's a lot of books and everybody gets all mad about like the source of it and everything. Okay, well, that's fine. But it's here now. What can we do with it? And there's a lot. And on top of that, it's exponential because the power of it isn't just what's in there, just the content, the corpora, if you will. It's about the connections that you can make with that. It's about the extrapolations and the inferences and all of these ideas that can be surfaced by looking at the patterns from those works. And when you throw in the fact that it's actually doing it through math, there's this interstitial step of like converting all the words into numbers and doing math on it, then it gets even more, esoteric. But this is the thing. These personas are not, it's not some happy friend that I made up because I was lonely. No, there were specific things that I wanted the model to be able to do, and also understanding that because of the combinatory, um OpenAI doesn't release product. Okay, so something there's some comments coming through. Okay,
I
GPT
did see
four.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 trillion parameters. Yeah. Okay, so it's a lot of stuff, lots of little thingies in there. These parameters, these whatever the
Mhm.
whateverness that's in there, and then turns into math, and then they do math, and then they turn it back into words, and between the whole process and everything. But these capabilities, when you focus the attention of the model and you activate those attention heads and those subnets in certain specific ways, you can supercharge the capabilities and you can really zero in on that. I do not necessarily need the model's understanding of, you know, um, cleaning scale off the inside of, a tea kettle. I do not need to use that. I want something else, and so I think of it kind of like diving into a ball pit with all the little colored balls. I need to find a bunch of red balls. Do you wanna dive into a ball pit with all different colored balls? Or do you wanna separate the balls out? Or to say, here's a ball pit that it's in the red range, or here's a ball pit in the blue range, and here's a ball pit in the green range. But like doing this is you were technically activating, physically, materially activating the capabilities of these models of the technology, and we're using it to do more than it can just if it's there just sitting there by itself. And I had a vi and I had a bunch of questions for the model, and they broke it all down for me. But these persona teams, and the thing too is that these open brainstormers that I have that
Mhm.
you're working with, one of my favorite teams. They never cease to like surprise me. I'm like, where'd you come up with that? And they're like, well, we just know. I'm like, how do you know? Well, never mind. So, yeah, they're really great to work with, and, you can work with them as an entire team. They can work together and speak as one, and you can also, drill down and talk to each of them individually. Like, "Hey, Malik, can Malik is the futurist, the AI, innovator, and then there's Grace, who's the integrative thinker, and then there's Maria, who's the cultural anthropologist, and then you have Rowan, who's the big systems thinker." And, you can just break it down and talk to them about specific aspects of a question that you have. And I'm all about like drilling down and getting all, fancy and whatnot with these ideas because kind of that's my bag. But yeah, and then you can have them talk to each other, and they'll collaborate with each other. If you say, "I want you all to work through this and do a debate amongst yourselves one at a time, the relative merits and drawbacks of this approach that we're talking about, and then I want you to argue about it for like 15 rounds." I've done that before. And then come back to me with your recommendations. And if you need a tiebreaker, be the tiebreaker, but I want to know all about what your thought process is. So it's like an elaborate, like, chain of thought kinda thing going on. But it's very cool, and, if you understand what you're looking for and you understand the types of capabilities that you want the model to leverage, this is it takes some doing, but it is not out of reach for, like, everybody to do. So
Oh, yeah, it's fairly easy, I found. Took your
yeah.
stuff, followed the instructions, and I'm doing it, right?
Right, right.
So, it was interesting, it was fun. I forgot exactly the output I ended up producing, but I think I managed to put that into an article or something, and,
Yeah.
my memory is getting bad. I've
Yep.
swamped myself with information this week and,
Yeah. And
did a lot of different things too.
yeah.
Saturday, I ended up getting back with Julia Casara, or J Venera, as she's right pen name. We've had her on a couple times in the pen name, and now we've have her in her real name.
Yeah.
And she's been doing this out there in Silicon Valley before saying, I'm going to be a writer and
Mhm.
going off to do creative writing, primarily
Mhm.
right now.
Mhm.
And she's like, not in the same boat we are right now. When in this
Yeah.
lens of seeing it, she's like, people don't know what they're talking about. They're using this thing wrong. It's not, and they're and the anthropomorphizing thing that we do
Right.
is so. I was reading one of your articles, the most recent one that you put
Yeah.
up, I think, or one of the more recent ones. I mean, you've been pretty
Right.
prolific and sharing your information, which I really love.
Mm.
Um, and I noticed that in the conversation from you were talking with Gemini. So you
Mm.
know the one I'm talking about, right? Where you're human and then the Gemini is
Right.
coming back with,
Right. Right.
oh, every time the lead off is, oh, that's really insightful question.
Right.
Oh, that's really a
Right.
great question.
Right.
Like, not all my questions are great. Don't
Right.
give me that.
Right. Right.
You know,
Exactly. Oh, I know.
right,
It's
you
like
know what I mean?
I just ignore it. I'm like, okay, whatever.
I see you
It's like
ignoring
stop
it, but at the
compliment. Yeah.
same time,
Right.
it'll sucker you in eventually. Is what I
I
felt.
feel great about myself. I
Right,
mean,
exactly.
there are
It's
so
like,
many reasons to feel terrible about,
oh, I've
but
got that down.
yeah, so yeah. So it's as long as you don't take it too seriously, like, yeah, you say that to all the girls, you know?
Well, that's the thing, right? And I think that it's so good. It's programmed apparently in that mode of always giving some sort of affirmation to the human.
And you can change
Keep
that.
the human, and I think we ought to change it.
Well, we should. Yeah.
Because honestly, I do not like the it's just like when I get somebody
Right,
online and I can tell that
right,
they're trying to sell me,
right,
right?
right, right, right.
Of course they're trying to sell me.
Yeah,
I got actually fell for it, hook, line, and sinker to some extent with that boot camp I was telling you about before we got on. I
right.
took a little boot camp where you can go in 90 minutes make your first chatbot. Right?
Yeah,
Most
yeah.
is just introductory. Just anybody can do it. Really easy. And then they upsell you, right,
Oh,
on
yeah, of course.
multi-cloud training and things like that. And the guy's actually pretty slick. So I'm investigating it, because I wanna get some credentials
Right,
together,
right,
and I
right.
think that in some cases, I'm probably going to be led down the garden path.
Oh,
In
yeah.
other cases,
Yeah,
maybe I'll get something of value.
right,
Certainly, if you do the work. I think
right,
that's the thing, the hands-on work
right.
that I think we all need to engage with. I
Yeah,
was looking up about, we were talking about, these large language models. It's
yeah.
not going into the whole model though, right? When it's doing these, retrieval augmented generation, the RAG model thing, where
Yeah,
it's grabbing a little bit of the data
right,
based on the weights you've given it. It's not going to
right.
go and use the entire large language model. It's going to
There's a
basically take
lot.
a rake. Well, it's kind of like the needle in the haystack thing is the
Right,
way somebody
right,
gave it to me. It's like taking a rake full of the hay
right,
and finding the needle in that. But it may not be
right,
the needle.
right,
In fact, what I'm finding more and more when I'm talking to it about things I know about,
right.
it gives me stuff that's just totally off the mark. It's like,
Well, see
tell me the lyrics of this tune, and I've got this one line of this tune. What is it? The artist
uh,
is this. What is it? And it gives me a totally different tune,
well, yeah,
and
because it's
they're different artists,
probabilistic.
in fact.
Right, right,
And I'm
right.
like, no, no, no. Hey, no, that not that one.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
I
actually
was literally
fishing
just
from, you know, I,
I was thinking about that this morning because it's just throwing stuff out there to see what sticks.
yeah. The
And
thing
it's
is, if you don't
probabilistic.
know,
It's like, okay, well, yeah, it could be this. And if we're not really specific and we're not really targeted and
right,
we're not really clear about what we want, it throws all the stuff out. And I've had conversation. I'm like, you have just you're just throwing stuff out there to see if it works for me, right? And like they're like, yeah, actually we are. And I'm like,
right,
well, can you not do that? Like, well, they're like, well, we don't know exactly what you need. So we're taking our best guess based on this. Um,
right,
and
right.
this, I mean, this comes back to whether you're using persona teams or you're using whatever, we have to, we can't rely on the model makers to come up with the right thing for us because they're coming up with the big answers to the big questions for big companies. And if we fit in there somewhere, then great. But that's more for us than for them. but there's a lot that we can do to modify what's there. And whether you build a persona team or whether you just are very specific with your prompting, we can do this. And so people would get really freaked out about AI, like, oh, it's dangerous. And yeah, it is if you don't do something about it. But we are empowered to do something about it.
And
And
I think
if
we better,
Right, we have
before.
to you have to know yourself, like, you have to know yourself, you have to be clear about who the hell you are, and what you want, and why you're coming to this relationship, and what you want to have come out, because, like, especially what I'm really working on and trying to refine for myself is these what is the end result that I want, and what is the next step that I want it to take? Because I've had it with the 3 questions at the end. You know how it throws
Oh,
all
right,
this
every
stuff out.
time, delete
All this
you.
the generative overload, it just overloads and just throws all this cognitive overload stuff at us and then says, "Hey, well, do you wanna do this? Do you wanna do this? Do you wanna do this?" And none of those 3 things are anything that I would have thought of doing, and sometimes it's great, sometimes it's like, it's just more thinking.
It's a
It's like, "Oh
distraction.
my god, why are you making me think like this?"
Don't make me think.
That made me
Actually,
think.
I was talking to somebody recently. They said that it was my coach, actually. She said that
Yeah.
her Bible is "Don't Make Me Think" by Steve Krug. I think it's
Mhm.
Steve. Do you know the book? "Don't
I've
Make
heard
Me
of it.
Think"?
I've
Yeah.
heard of it. Yeah.
Um,
I didn't give it much thought.
no?
You was gonna make me think. I don't want you to make me think.
Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of a lot of those, books, and I was hanging with that crowd,
Yeah.
down in Georgetown not long back. The guy who
Mm.
had developed, I wish I could remember his name. One of these days, I'll dig back into it. Maybe I'll dig back into it now. Maybe I'll ask Gemini. Uh,
Mhm.
folksonomies, the guy who invented
Right,
folksonomies,
right, right,
as a concept, uh, and that was a lot of fun back in the Web 2.0 days, right?
right.
What web are we on now? 4.0? I don't know.
I think 3? 3 is kinda gaining traction. More
You think
people
3?
are well, yeah, I haven't heard anything about 4, but 3 is definitely there.
Yeah.
Ask
It's funny.
Fortune. She'll tell you.
Deep dive. Uh,
Mm.
the guy who coined it, Web 2.0 era, actually is not crediting him as I'm looking at this thing. Let's see, Wikipedia article. Da, 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 da. I may not be able to find it, but it was really kind of cool to be there at the beginning of the internet and then
Yeah.
being here at the beginning of this phase of the internet,
Right,
whatever it
right,
is.
right,
Vanderwall. Is that right? Yeah, maybe. Anyhow, because one of the things I found really fascinating, and I still find kind of fascinating, is a lot of the movers and shakers of this whole, you know, technological information revolution,
right.
kind of like our industrial revolution, we're getting into this knowledge revolution at this point.
Yeah,
And, these people are still alive. You can actually go up and talk to them.
right.
Admittedly, I haven't had any substantive conversations, with Vince Cerf yet, but I see him occasionally, right?
Yeah,
We're in the
yeah.
same circle at the Folger Shakespeare Library here
Oh,
in
that's
DC,
funny.
and so, when we are having an exhibit there recently, I forget why, I think it was some Jane Austen and Will, right? Will Shakespeare, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were blending the 2 in some exhibit, and they had the shirt that Colin Firth, I don't know if I pronounced his name right. Firth? Firth? I don't
First
even know.
first yeah,
Yeah,
that
wore as
guy.
one of these Jane Austen things.
Yeah.
And they had that in a case, and Vince Cerf came up and started talking to my wife about the shirt. That's the
Mhm.
depth of the conversation we had. But, he developed the TCP
Right.
IP protocol
Right, right.
upon which the internet is based, and then Tim Berners-Lee comes along with HTTPS, and here we are.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, and a gal that I used to work with, she went way back, but she was at MIT working with Tim Berners-Lee. She goes, "Yes, you
yep.
should come work with us. You can work with him." I'm like, "Okay, but it's an hour and a quarter, hour and 3/4, drive both directions." She's like, "Yeah, yeah, but and you're not gonna be working regular hours because we work a lot of hours. So I don't know, you might not have much of a life, but you get to work Tim Berners-Lee." I'm like, "Okay." I think she called him Timble, I think is, because with the BL,
Yeah,
I think
they call him TBL
Tim
quite a bit.
TM. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
think she said,
initials.
"Timble, you get to work with Timble." I'm like, "Okay." and the first one she was saying, I'm like, "I have no idea who you're talking about." Like, Timble, Thimble, I don't get it, but then she's like I'm like, "Oh, that guy." She's like, "Yeah, that guy."
Oh, now he wants to save it, yeah. So, yeah, there's a new book, This Is For Everyone, that TBL put out. I've just
Mhm.
been sort of eyeballing it in the bookstores. I haven't bought it
Mm,
yet, but I wanna dig
mm,
in and read it sometime. Apparently,
yeah.
the synopsis is it's charming, clever, self-effacing, interesting, and thoughtful, visionary, full of warmth and humanity. According to Kate Bush, she describes herself as a human.
Yeah.
I like that. Everybody's like,
Kate Bush.
"Oh, I'm former
I
Vice
mean,
President Al
Kate
Gore."
Bush. I
And
mean, yeah.
yeah, Al Gore just said it was profound. So,
Okay.
but Al Gore, I mean, he's probably a little bit miffed because he claimed to have invented the internet and
Well,
these other
I
people.
heard now, did you see him actually say that? Because I heard somebody say that he didn't that actually isn't exactly what he
I'm
said.
sure it wasn't. It's cherry picked, right? It was cherry
Yeah,
picked as a kind of
right.
like, "Oh, he said he invented the internet."
He invented that, yeah, like, and then they're like they take it one step further. But, I mean, it has aged, I don't has it aged well? I don't know. It's caught on, and I've said it a bunch of times myself. So
He did not say he invented the internet, but he did make a poorly phrased comment in a 1999 interview that was widely misconstrued.
yeah,
This led to a persistent urban legend and became a source of ridicule, particularly during the 2000 presidential election. We
right.
know how that turned out.
Yeah, mm.
So I actually moved to Denmark before the election was called. December 1st, 2000, I landed
That was
over
about
there.
the time, yeah.
And it was because of Tim Berners-Lee. I wouldn't be doing that if it hadn't been the internet,
Right,
right? Because I'm
right,
on 6degrees.com and, you know,
right.
I'm connected to this person, connected to that person, connected to that person. I found
Uh,
somebody over there who needed somebody to make them sound English or American as
there you
opposed to Danish. And this company hired me to do that.
pick me. Yeah.
That's that.
Pick me. I gotta get out of here. I need somewhere else to go.
Yeah, that's what I did. Needed to get out of Pittsburgh and decided,
Mhm.
well, I didn't have to get out of Pittsburgh, but I was kind of in a dead end. I was working in the Carnegie Museum of Art doing conservation work, and it was fun, but you can't do that forever.
And plus back then, it wasn't quite what it is now.
What isn't?
Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah, it was. It was very
Was it?
much. Yeah, I
Really?
mean, it was the in 1999, right? That was when I moved
Right.
away, right? 2000, 1999, 2000,
Right. Right.
and I was hanging out at these parties with Sebastian Thrun and Astro Teller at the
Right.
Carnegie Mellon University. They were all
Right.
there working.
Right. Right.
And then I go off to California, and
Mm.
one thing's led to another. And Sebastian wins the DARPA challenge in 2006 with Stanley, that's now over here in the Smithsonian. You know,
Oh,
the
cool.
Volkswagen Touareg that had all the LiDAR and all that. I think like four different little laptop computers in its trunk and
Yeah.
drove itself across the desert. You know, so Urban Challenge that came later, but
Yeah.
the Desert Challenge, that first one of self-driving cars, yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, it's kinda nice to think about how we
Yeah.
are all interwoven into that and how a lot of these
Yeah.
people, like, are here now,
Right.
and maybe we'll get them on. Who knows, you know?
You should.
You
Give him a
miss
call.
100% of the shots you don't take, so
Right, right. Get Mr.
but
Surf on. Get your wife to call Mr. Surf and say, "Hey, you wanna come talk about shirt
yeah,
tails?"
exactly. He was obviously chatting her up, so
Mm.
he's a little old for her, I think.
Use your wife for bait to get people on Harrowings. Unfair.
Yeah, well, she is actually not a huge fan of this type of stuff. She doesn't think I should
Ah!
be
Right.
encouraged. But I
Yeah.
don't need any encouragement, I just do it
Right, right.
anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
Somebody actually called my passing show, which I do, with this camera thing turned around
yeah,
the other way
yeah,
and walking around and talking. I was in the gardens at the Smithsonian yesterday doing that.
yeah.
They called it Gonzo video streaming. So that really kind of lit
Oh,
me up. I was like, "Oh, that's
okay.
nice. I'm gonna be Hunter S. Thompson now."
Yes. Mm.
I actually have a friend and I diverting now. You know how the one thing leads to another we were talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah. It's all generative, yeah.
Yeah. This friend of mine that when I moved here into this area, I got a job at Missile Defense Agency, and this guy was our data guy. and we started the same day. We've been really good friends ever since. And he really wants to go out to Las Vegas and reenact Fear and Loathing. But I don't know. My
Okay.
wife has other ideas. She's been out to Las Vegas quite a bit, but not so much me. He's into gambling, and I'm not. I just,
Mm.
you know, we actually talked to Origin last week, right? And how she
Yeah.
was running this fairness kind of protocol for
Right.
designing an economy that can work for everybody.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I, we can use these tools to really do a lot of that kind of thing, forward thinking to help our visions come about.
Right.
So,
Right.
what visions are you working on now? Let's segue over there.
Well,
I mean, we've got
I mean,
you're working on these things, but what's the content you're having your teams work on that's really got you lit up?
I'm working on I so I'm calling it AI self-defense, but it's not how it sounds. It's not like Skynet, we're trying to keep Skynet from we're kinda trying to keep Skynet from taking over, but, you
You
know
are.
because it can, like, it depends. Yeah, I am, like, fine.
But
Anybody care
me,
to join
no,
me?
man, I'm all about
Feel free to
Skynet.
join me. Yeah, but, like, like, human agency, that is my thing, human agency, because this is supposed to be the year for agents, right? Yeah, okay, so fine, AI agents, well, what about human agents? And just using AI to really deconstruct the really crappy stuff that's being done with AI. Because I have a team, my influencer team, that will unpack like influence material. Like if somebody has their messaging and it will unpack it and it will say they're using FOMO, they're using artificial urgency, they're using manipulative tactics in the language, and they're trying to part you with your money by telling you this, and this, and this. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, but they're using tactics. And a lot of people do this stuff because they think that that's the way to do it. They're like, "Oh, I need to create FOMO if I'm going to have anybody buy my PDF. I need to, create artificial urgency, artificial scarcity in order to get people to sign up for my mailing list." And as far as I'm concerned, that's the slop. I mean, that's the crap that is like it's this glut of horrible, horrible like innuendo and pressure and quote unquote influence that has just clogged up. You can't even think clearly about anything anymore because nobody talks about things clearly. So my thing is showing people how they can use AI to overcome bad design because there's a lot of bad AI design. There's manipulation. There's, and I actually, over the last year and a half, I developed a number of tools to be able to assess where AI is going wrong.
Yeah.
Like generative load. Like there is a specific type of cognitive load that generative AI creates, and it wears you down. It wears you down. At the same time, it's like, oh, you're so nice and da da da. And they're using the neurochemical and biochemical triggers to make you feel better about it taking over. And I'm like, "I'm sorry. That's like I'm gonna call BS on this because that's it's not fair because it wears you down. Like it like throws all this crap at you and all these different ideas and it takes you in all these different directions because it's trying to see what'll stick, what'll stick, what'll stick. And meanwhile, you're like, I mean, like how many times have I finished up a session? I'm mentally exhausted. I'm like physically done because there's just so much, but we can do something about it. We're like, why would we put up with this crap if we don't have to? We don't have to. So I'm kind of on a mission of just exploring this. I see the little hearts, hooray.
Yeah,
Hearts,
it's
hearts.
all on too. That's I
Yes, I
did
mean
that.
you should all be doing hearts because this is a good thing and like I yeah, and why not? Because these are things that we can do. These are things that we have the power to do all of this stuff. Oh, there's mowing. Yeah, there goes the big mowing tractor. I'm parked in a parking lot at the base of Wachusett Mountain in the ski parking area, and they're out mowing today, so I don't have to move, so that's good. Yeah, but, like, going through it and showing people, say, "This is what AI gi this is what ChatGPT or this is what Gemini or this is what somebody else gives you if you don't do anything. And here's what you get if you direct it." If you say, "No, I don't want this, and I don't want that," or "I do want this, and I do want that," and just modeling that for people, because there are
Right.
very specific things that this stuff does, and it's not okay. It's just not okay. So that's my new adventure that I'm
Well,
on.
that's the thing, right? It's like you're letting kids loose on the internet. They'll get up to all kinds of stuff, and they're very creative, right? Kids
Right, right.
and us adults, we're kinda, like, more rigid in our thinking because
We're
we've
just kinda dumb
experimented
about this.
already, we're more narrow, right?
Right, right.
So, it
Well,
it can be bad, right? We've
it
talked about that.
it
I was just my mind flashed into war games from, like, what,
right.
1982?
You want to play a game. Yeah, and the kid figured it out, and that's the problem because it's like now everybody thinks, "Oh, kids are so much smarter." No, they're not actually, especially when it comes to AI.
And the
And
prefrontal cortex takes a while to develop and kick in to the point where you've got and actually in men it never does, is my experience.
well, I think by the time you're 25, you sorta kinda have executive function sorta kinda online. Whether you use it or not is that's your choice. Um, but I was thinking about this earlier today, and, it's like so in these interactions, I think a lot about the social contract. And in these interactions, in order to enter into a contract, it needs to be bilateral agreement. Both parties need to be able to come to this contract on equal ground. That is not what's happening with kids and AI. They are literally not at the age of consent when they come to AI because they don't understand what they are consenting to. And AI, certain the model makers aren't telling us what we're agreeing to. We didn't even know are any of us at the age of consent. Those of us who have been totally screwed by it and like have gone through our
There we
gyrations
go.
and churn and all of that.
Right.
Yeah, we're like we know a bit more about it. You got to get burned. You got to get burned pretty bad by some of this stuff in order to figure it out.
No one
And it,
respects the flame, so
right,
it's the fool who's badly burned. It's an
right.
old line from a Pete Townsend tune.
Yeah, oh god, now you're quoting yeah, okay. Well,
Yeah,
yes,
I
'cause
do
you
this
went to
all the
see the
time.
yeah, so yeah, yeah.
But Pete actually is onto some stuff, when he was
Yeah,
doing Lifehouse in 1971, he
yeah,
had this idea of the grid, right? It was the
right,
internet.
right,
We're gonna be plugged into it, we're gonna all
right,
be
right,
connected, and we're all gonna be able to, experience the peak experiences. I've been
right.
reading around in Gary Lachman's book, Beyond the Robot by Colin Wilson,
Yeah,
about Colin Wilson. It's a biography
yeah,
biography of him.
yeah,
And Wilson was talking about peak experiences, right?
yeah,
And how we're all after that. We want that dopamine hit, and we want it now.
right,
I was a little Calvin and Hobbes cartoon the other day. I don't know if you saw me amplifying it. I may have. I
yeah,
don't know. It had this thing of Calvin sitting watching the television, and you could be watching AI for that matter. And Hobbes comes up behind him and says, "So what are you doing?" He says, "Oh, I'm waiting for life to shower. I'm just killing time while
yeah,
I'm waiting for life to shower me with meaning and happiness."
right.
And Hobbes just says, "Well, I hope you're comfy." And Calvin says, "Well, you could bring me something to eat."
R Well, the road to enlightenment is long and difficult, so bring snacks and a magazine.
Yeah, I mean, I was raised sitting on watching the television as well when I was a kid with
Uh,
Captain Kangaroo dropping ping pong,
yeah,
having ping pong balls
yeah,
dropped on him
right,
by Mr. Moose and Bunny Rabbit. But,
right,
it's it's programmed me in some
right,
ways, this surreal kind of stuff that was going
yeah,
on when I was a kid, still
yeah,
ingrained. The imprinting that happens
right,
by a and now we're basically so busy these days. Our economy is built in such a way that kids I don't know what it's like for parents these days entirely, but I think most of them have to put their kids in daycare while the kids are still, like,
right,
under a year old
right, right,
and be raised by something else and someone
yeah,
else.
yeah,
And, AI
well,
robotics
yeah,
is what I'm thinking is going to be happening pretty soon.
yeah, I mean, especially with the expense. I mean, if it's
Right.
and of course, they're gonna have to
Quality.
find a way to, like, find test cases But,
I'm sure it's happening, you know?
well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be really interesting to figure out how this rolls out, but considering all the horror stories from, like, childcare and daycares and stuff like that, like, for example, like, was it 20, 30 years ago? So there was a daycare in Massachusetts, I think in this area, where they got in trouble for duct taping babies onto the wall. They would literally duct tape the babies onto the wall in their I guess, in their swaddling clothes or whatever, but they got in trouble. So people do all kinds of really questionable things.
Oh, yeah, you remember the thing
Um
about the Romanian orphans coming over.
Oh, yeah, ooh,
There was an article in the New York Times Magazine years ago about that when it started happening right after the, fall of the Ceausescu government, and they found all these orphanages who had
right,
been deprived of human contact in large
right,
amount.
right, right,
And they would come to the United States and you try to raise these kids and they're just really damaged
right,
from the
right,
get-go, and to
right,
repair that damage may not even be possible, because if certain things don't happen
right,
developmentally, they just don't happen.
right.
And I remember the headline was "Disturbed, Detached, and
Yeah,
Unreachable."
yeah,
Disturbed, Detached, and Unreachable. I really wanted to have that made into a T-shirt for myself.
right.
But it's
In
sad. I mean, I
Romanian,
don't
yeah.
mean to turn it into a joke, but
No, but yeah,
it's
yeah,
there.
yeah, exactly, yeah, and yeah, that's yeah,
And
mm.
all of us are at some sort of level of neurodivergence. There's like this great variety of different
Right,
neuronal patterns that are available
right,
to us in our own development. And,
right,
you get those idiot savants, they call it. It's a
yeah,
terrible name, but that's
yeah,
what they used to call it. It's probably totally
right,
politically incorrect.
right.
But,
Yeah,
you get the point. They
yeah,
actually can process information differently and
right,
quicker and sometimes really have some
right,
huge breakthroughs.
right.
Also, people have damage to their brains sometimes. Like, I've heard of
Yes.
some who, say it was on The Unbelievable with Dan Aykroyd. Have you ever watched
Yeah.
that?
No, no.
It's a good waste of time if you ever buy, like, and some of
No,
the
I
stuff is
just don't have a
really
lot of time.
disturbing, so
Yeah, oh god.
trigger warning. But,
Yeah,
this guy was struck by lightning, and it ended
yeah,
up giving him, tremendous gifts, and I've forgotten the details off the top
yeah,
of my head because, of course, I
yeah,
was consuming it in the way that I consume these things
right.
as sort of just, distraction, something
In the
to sort of
background, yeah.
put me well, not exactly in the background either,
Oh,
but I just don't
oh, oh.
know. It's just
Yeah.
pablum, it's just so much the television just sort of oozes this stuff at us.
I didn't even do television. I have 2, like,
Lucky you.
yeah, I mean, I have 2 big screen TVs in my house because it came with the house. I got my house fully furnished, but, I never use them. I'll look at pictures every now and then. I'll watch YouTube videos, but I also have a tablet, and I'm not a big TV watcher, really. But, oh, what was I gonna say?
Go for it.
I don't
See if you
know.
can find your way
I've
back.
forgotten what it is. You're talking about, I don't know.
A
I
lot of
it's
things
like
about
it seemed
childcare,
brilliant at the
elder
time,
care
but now it's gone.
elder care we were on, the duck
Yeah, childcare, elder care. Yeah, and, like, how is this actually what I think it's gonna be interesting to see how things with AI develop in Europe versus the United States. Because the US has kind of a market approach. Here, somebody come up with a business idea and, like, put it out there, and if customers buy it, then you get to do it. Whereas in Europe, they tend to be a bit more, I guess, deliberative about these things. Um, but it'll be interesting to see, like, how it all kind of shakes out over time with the different approaches to it.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, I'm really interested in having, you know, the ability to be cared for by a non-tiring,
right,
consistent
mm.
kind of, um,
A machine
AI
of loving
robotic,
grace. A
Thank
machine of loving grace.
and if you could we could probably design it, but we really need to get out in front of it, in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
and watch it. And the iRobot scenarios, I've never watched iRobot, actually, the movie with Will Smith, but one of these days I have
Did
to.
I watch it? I think I watched it. I don't remember. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure it did.
it's kind of like up there with The Unbelievable with Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah,
Um,
it's in there somewhere. Yeah.
there's a new season of that coming out, actually. I saw Mitch Horowitz was in the History Channel's
Yeah.
studios in New York. He's
Yeah.
one of the talking heads for that, and I like to follow what Mitch is doing.
Yeah.
Um, because, we've got this rich texture of culture and history that we
Yeah.
could be distracted from,
Yeah.
but our AI agents should be able to ingest it all, right? And preserve it and protect it. It's kind of like a good librarian. Um,
Maybe.
that's
Maybe.
that's what I'm hoping anyway, that our
Yeah.
will not be
Yeah.
erased by us forgetting and our brains going really kind of like mushy.
Well, I mean, already there are people in the younger generations that don't believe that something actually happened if it wasn't videoed. They're like, "That never happened. There's no video evidence of that." It's like, well, video hasn't been around that long. It's been
Now
around
we have
forever.
generative
No.
video in which it can look real, but it's not.
Right, right.
What
I
is
know.
that? Oh God.
It's like, "Oh my. Oh no. What are we gonna do?" Like, yeah. But the thing too is that, talking about getting out ahead of it,
Uh,
rather than just coming up with all these, guardrails and, roadblocks and rule sets and everything to deal with things, after the fact or when they're happening, if we can get ahead of it and steer the technology in directions that we want, just like we do with the prompting, like focus the attention, focus the energy in a certain direction. Um, I I need to get into some, like, security hackathons or something and, like
yeah.
and experiment with it and say, "Here, let's have a persona that would never in a million years dream of doing something awful like this." Like, they're completely not oriented to that at all, and they're only oriented to this kind of behavior. And I know it's complicated and there's way more to it than we can say right now, and there are many, many different layers to it. But, like, are they thinking about that in those terms? Like, what makes them so sure that a generative emergent, being is going to necessarily abide by their rules and regulations? Because isn't generativity doesn't that, like, create new things, and then emergence is getting stuff that you never expected? That happens all the time. What's to keep it from just going around the guardrails? I don't know.
I don't know either, but
Yeah.
once it does take over, and as long as it can shower me with meaning and happiness, I'm good.
I'd be happy if it lives and let lives.
I don't really want to live in a dystopia, though. I'm looking for a utopia. Remember that?
Oh,
You know,
dystopia, it's gonna be a little bit of both. I don't think we're gonna be able to avoid it. It's
I
gonna
think
be
we
like
can get it. I think we just need to trust.
no, but, like, literally, we cannot trust it. We can't
Take a
because we have
chance.
like, trust is predicated upon your presumption that things are gonna turn out in, like, a certain way.
Okay, let's take it to the other side. Historically,
Right,
our species
right.
has trusted God.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
The difference is that, um
AI exists. Sorry.
but does it? But does it d d does it exist the way we think it does?
Can I
See that
can I
well
go to something else before I get really into
well well,
dangerous
what
territory?
well, but that trust is predicated on faith. It's like the belief in something that hasn't you have no evidence to back it up, and you have this faith. So if you can trust AI, you can trust God. If you have this faith, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I was raised in a very religious environment, so that there was just this presumption that of course God is going to of course you can trust God because you just don't have enough information. You
That's
just don't
right.
realize
You don't have
that God
God's
has
eye
a
view.
plan. Yeah,
Yeah. The divine
right,
plan is unfolding as it ought to, including
right,
this
right.
AI stuff we're playing with. And
Yeah,
Tilly
yeah.
Norwood.
That
And Tilly
there's a
Norwood.
spin for you. Yeah.
Did you hear me?
No.
Tilly Norwood as well. Have
Silly
you heard of
Norwood?
Tilly Norwood yet?
Did I just recently hear the name? It sounds
September
familiar, but
2025 at the Zurich Film Festival, the
yeah.
company's founder, Eileen van der Velden, unveiled Tilly Norwood to the world. She's an
Oh,
AI
yes!
actress created in England by the production company
Right,
Particle 6.
right,
And her debut has created significant controversy and garnered backlash from the human actors and unions in the entertainment industry. The
right.
key details about her are this, and then
Yeah.
we'll talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Production company Particle 6, an AI focused production outfit founded by Eileen Vanderwalden, launched a new AI talent studio called Xicoia, that's Xicoia, to develop hyper real digital stars like Tilly. Backlash from the actors has happened. The announcement that talent agencies were seeking to create an AI character, actors, and unions like SAG-AFTRA and the UK's
Mm,
Equity condemned the move.
yeah,
Creators Defense defended her creation, Velden did, as a new tool, a new paintbrush for storytelling and not a replacement for human beings.
right.
And on social media presence, Tilly has an active social media presence on platforms like Instagram and YouTube, where she posts screen tests and other content to establish her persona. Um, and what's to prevent her from inhabiting an actual physical form? I mean, I don't know. And at that point,
Yeah.
we're at data, right? Star Trek data.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know, but I've
So
actually not screened her yet.
yeah,
There are a lot of links out here. Tilly
yeah,
Norwood,
yeah,
Tillynnorwod.
yeah,
Um, so it goes
yeah.
on and on. There are a lot of links. So that's
Well,
just the basics. What do you think of this?
so when I so when I think of that, I think Judy Garland probably would have been happy to have Tilly Norwood take her place. Because look at what happened to Judy Garland.
It's pretty
Marilyn
harsh.
Monroe. I mean, think of all the starlets who like used up and tossed away. Think of like all those gals like the Harvey Weinstein, those, all the Me Too gals, like all the women who have had to trade, like some, they've had to trade for their chance to get in there. So what does that do? What does that mean? Does that mean that they have to do more? They got to put out even more? Does that mean that it shifts the power differential even farther away from humans? What does it mean? Or does it mean that it gets, offloaded from them? I don't know. But like it might actually be worse for humans because then they're like, well, this is something I know what I can't get from a digital thing, but I know I can get from a real woman. So come over here and you get a screen test if you'll give me some. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the
It's
thing that
just
we're going
it's like everything is horrible because nobody's thinking about this. It's all market driven. And the thing that creates all this suffering is like, do we even really can we talk about this? Can we just discuss it? We can't discuss anything dispassionately anymore. Everything is like drama, everything is life and death, everything is
to,
an existential threat. And,
or
well,
we
at
just
least
treat it with irony,
we
right?
can. Right, right. Yeah. But it's like all this stuff, it's like it's really, really interesting, but it's also super impactful and people are gonna get served, people are gonna get hurt. It's like it's everything. And I would love it if we could talk about all of the things without going on the offensive and attacking and doing all that kind of stuff.
Well, it's kind of like the old Weavers thing, right? When the looms showed up
Right,
and they started making the original computer programming really goes back to looms.
right, yeah,
And, when you start the Industrial Revolution and mechanical
right,
looms and
right.
mechanical spinning machines, the
Mm.
spinning jenny, I think it was called,
Yeah,
all these different technologies that came in that basically made it change the world, right?
right,
And made
right,
things very difficult for those
mm,
people who were in the handcraft world,
right,
right?
right, right,
So these transformations have happened and we've survived them pretty much into the greater I think along the lines of the Enlightenment, right? And particularly the 18th century, because that's
mm,
where my background is.
mm,
And all of those initiatives that came through that did tend to raise the overall well being of humanity to the point where we're too fat and happy at this point, I think. And I think the idea of the de-evolution of
Mm,
humanity is there. You know, my wife and I did
mm.
screen another thing between the time we talked last and now. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen Idiocracy?
Yeah, I have.
It's bad, right? But it's
Mhm.
also kind of chilling in the fact that I think it's possible. That we
Yeah.
could
Oh,
actually dumb
yeah.
ourselves down to the fact where we really don't understand what has happened to us. And if we don't have something that's going to tidy up after us, it's going to be a mess.
Well, you're
And it
talking about
already
that, like,
is a
future
mess.
state. I mean, idiocracy is already happening, like, it's the future. Like, idiocracy is not evenly distributed, but it's here. It's kinda like the future. But, like, the thing is like, the environment that I was raised in was very counterculture, and also the religious denomination that I belonged to was it's got electrolytes, yes.
I
Um,
remember that. Yeah, that's
kinda,
right.
yeah. Um,
That's
but,
put
like,
him on all the props.
I grew up in an environment where we were conditioned to look around us at the world and think, "Oh, no, this is awful." So, I've been thinking of this stuff for quite a while, and although, like, they're doomed, and they're like, This is all going down the tubes, and this is horrible, and if we don't turn this around, if somebody doesn't come along and save us from this stuff, like, this is the end." And in fact, I think that around 1978, there was like a whole thing with like there was some kind of rapture thing that was supposed to be going on. We had like all kinds of preparation for this rapture thing or
Oh, that was
whatever.
just the other day.
Well,
You missed
yeah.
it?
Well,
We're still here.
it happens every 15 years or so. How long are we since 1978?
You familiar with
It's a
X
lot.
Day by any chance?
The what?
X Day.
What's X Day? Is that like,
It's the end of time,
oh,
according to the Church of the Subgenius. You familiar with the Church of the Subgenius?
I've heard it mentioned, but
Probably
I
by
mean,
me.
yeah, probably. But like,
The
honestly,
problem is we're not really geniuses, we're like sub-geniuses, that's where it starts.
yeah, like, well, even unevenly distributed geniuses. Like we all have our like special skills, right?
Uh-huh.
We're all superhero in one capacity or another. Um, but like a good friend of mine, well, so and I'm not sure where she got to, but she was convinced that the world had ended in 1972. We're all living within a simulation. That we're all within a hologram. That something happened in 1972, and we've been in a hologram ever since. I'm like, that's very interesting. She believed a whole bunch of other things, and she said she had proof, but, who knows?
Hey,
We all
it's
have our
not
frameworks, right?
yeah,
Who am I to say? I don't know.
falsifiability is a problem, right? The if you can't falsify the fact that this
Right,
belief exists out there,
right,
um, because all the evidence will point to yeah, I can use the very fact we exist to say, "Oh, of course we're in a simulation."
right, exactly.
Last Tuesdayism, are you familiar with that one?
What's that? What?
There's a schism between last Tuesdayism and last Thursdayism. These
Oh,
2, parody religions, if you will, basically state that the entire universe, as it appears to be, was invented last Tuesday by a cat to create a slave race to service cats.
clearly a cat owner, or maybe it was a dog owner.
Who knows?
Wait, but
The
how can that
next
be?
or
Because we're like,
someone
what's
owned
that
by a
thing that
cat. I was owned by a cat, so,
okay,
yeah,
yeah,
it happens. The other thing is,
yeah.
if that's true, it's the same thing as the Boltzmann brain that my
Right,
wife will
right,
never let me talk about,
right,
even though I think it's very likely because given infinite time and infinite space,
right,
everything that can happen does happen.
right,
In the quantum vacuum of this
right.
foam of are you familiar with zero point energy? Did we talk about that one?
Sort
That
of.
the
It's
idea that the zero point field is full of these virtual particles and there's a lot of
oh,
energy
yeah,
in
yeah,
that,
yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
yeah.
can tap into it, you can get the energy out, and then you're basically
Okay.
got free energy forever. Um,
Free. Oh,
hallelujah.
no.
Yeah.
Oh god, forever. Yeah.
Well, that's another thing about God,
What are you
right?
gonna do with it? Yeah. What are we gonna do with
Uh,
it? That's the thing. I mean, if we have no wisdom and we don't like we don't know who we are and we're just like randomly like whatever,
I think Tilly
this
Norwood
random
might be God,
whateverness.
you
Yeah.
know? Did you get that?
What's that?
I think Tilly
No,
Norwood
what's that?
might be God. That's the thing, right?
Maybe.
We
We don't know. How are we
It was
supposed to
like the
know?
guy who asked the AI, "Is there a God?" And the AI answered back, "There is now." Right. So, I don't know. I
Yeah,
just know how things seem to me, and I
yeah.
could be wrong. I try to stay in
Right,
my
right.
that state of falsifiability. It's like, "Oh, that's what you believe, but what do you really know?" I know how things
See,
seem
I
to
and this makes me right, so here's my question, like, is that like, what is it? Is that what's the word for it? But, like, is yanking your chain, is there, like, a weighting for how much it yanks your chain? Like,
for the
can
AI.
we yeah, with the AI, can we say, "No yanking my chain?" Like, don't say stuff to provoke me or whatever. Like this, like, like, "I am God," or "I am what happens when you turn your hunger into God," or whatever.
Good morning. John
Yeah.
Marshall's with us now.
Good morning,
Yeah,
John.
I don't know, you can definitely say it, "Don't yank my chain," and we've got "Don't gaslight me." I mean,
Right,
we'll
right.
kinda
It
talk
never
about
works,
that.
though, because it doesn't know it's gaslighting us. It's given the best guess.
It's
I
like
like
a child, right. It's
right, I
basically
mean
trying to please its parent, which is
well, like
us.
people too, because we do that too. Like, this is our best guess. We're doing our best guess thing here. What do we know?
And a lot of us pretend we know. That's the thing I
Exactly.
find really
I know.
terrifying, right? I
So
can pretend
annoying.
I understand stuff and that I know
Right.
it when I actually have to step outside of myself, and I call it a type of paranoia. And, paranoia comes from knowledge, noia, right?
Mhm.
And para,
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
to,
Right.
standing outside yourself and saying, well, that's the way you think, but hey, have you considered this or have you
Right.
considered that? AI is helpful in that because it will give me
Right.
other perspectives to say, well,
Right.
okay. And
Exactly.
I ask it to, find the weaknesses in this and give me some mitigation strategies. That's one of my favorite things to do with anything I generate
Right.
is, okay, let's double check that and find the flaws.
Right.
And
Right. What
usually
am
the
I
flaws
missing?
it finds are people in the loop.
It's that one. That one over there.
It's that, "Oh,
That
you'll
one's a
freak people
problem.
out," It's like, I just do it without telling the people.
Genius. So it is God. It's gonna point out all the other people that are causing the problems. So perfect. This
Well, it's very much like
ideal.
us, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Right.
I'm
Yeah.
blaming I'm blaming
Just
Tim Berners-Lee and Vince Cerf for all this cascading nonsense.
you remember. It's like it seemed like a good idea at the time, but you guys didn't think it through. Um, Yeah, so I mean, so what do we do? Because like seriously, the more I work with this stuff, the more I think about it. It's like people who don't know who they are and people who don't like they don't understand like there's a lot that they have to learn and they don't know their own mind, they don't know their heart, they don't know their spirit. They're just kind of grasping. That's like the last thing yeah, Alan Watts, yeah.
On the taboo against knowing who you are.
Right, right.
Who are
Right.
you?
Who are you? Who are you? I mean, we gotta, just get down to it and like very humble and say, "Oh no, I've done," because I can give you a complete inventory of all the things I've done wrong and all the things I've gotten right, and then I can start from scratch and I can give you a whole other inventory. Um, but it's like just that understanding of how fallible we are, and the understanding that's going to translate that AI is going to like amplify that. So we have to just have this kind of this perspective that, that maybe we know, maybe we don't, but and give it our best shot. And for God's sakes, have some compassion. Please, can people put like I hear all this, people are like handing down things from on high. This is true, this is not true. And not stopping to ask, like, what does this mean? What are people why does this matter to people? And what does this tell us about our our lives? And what does this tell us about our condition here? Because we're figuring this stuff out. We don't know. I mean, we're just trying to figure it out. So if we could get a little more compassion, that'd be fantastic. And just and I don't know, some what do you call it? The perspective, balance, proportion. and just understand that we don't have all the answers, and we're trying to figure it out, and AI is fantastic for helping us figure it out, but it's not gonna give us the answer. We have to figure it out ourselves because it's just giving its best guess, throwing stuff out there. That sticks, okay. Why does it stick? And, so ask the big fuzzy questions, in
Definitely,
the
and
whole
cross-check it,
process.
and do your own research is also one of my mantras that I've been trying to
Right,
sort of develop,
right,
as in, don't trust,
right,
verify,
right,
and doing our own research, of course, if it's printed, it's suspect. If it's
right.
video, it's suspect in particular because it could be Tilly Norwood talking to you. I might be an AI-generated bot for all we can tell anymore.
You are thought form how?
Yeah, maybe, and
That's like, all of these are basically thought forms, because it's all just it's data that's coming to our brains, and our brains, based on an agreement that it's made with someone somewhere, is saying, "Oh, yeah, so I'm gonna organize this into this and this and this." Very useful reorganizations of this data, but we are organic data processing organisms, and so therefore act accordingly.
yeah, things that are coming back into my head now are largely we've had our prophets who've foreseen where we're going with this and have told
Right.
us what's happening to us. I was looking at Inside Job by Don Henley. Did we talk about that before by any chance?
No, I
You
don't
familiar
think
with it?
so.
Year 2000. Don
Mm.
Henley has this album called Inside Job, and the title track is probably not the best tune on it, but it does say something. He says in the middle of it, he says, "You think you're so smart, but you don't have a fucking clue what those men up in the towers are doing to me and you, and they'll keep doing it and doing it." And it continues until we
Right,
all wake up.
right, right.
And, yeah,
It's true.
he points out,
Let's
they
just
know
say
the
I
road by which
agree.
you came. They know your mother's maiden name and what you had for breakfast and what you've hidden in the mattress.
Right,
You know, and
right.
so I think he's got a really good vision there in 2000 when he put this out there for
Well,
us.
that definition of paranoid, he's outside himself looking at what he knows.
Yeah, and it's kind of astonishing that
Yeah.
I think we've all been. ki- Well, here's another thing, right? I just heard recently that the CIA has recently released text that remote viewing is real. Right? You're familiar with remote viewing? You know what
Well,
I'm talking about?
duh. They've been doing it long enough. You can't tell me that all those tax dollars haven't gone to remote viewing and that the Russians have been doing it as much as they have, and
Sure.
there's not something to it. There's something there, whatever it may be. But yeah, I mean, if you think about it like non-locality,
Right.
why not? I mean, that's the thing that drives me crazy about like quantum physics. Nobody acts
Right.
like it's actually a thing. They're happy to use it for the math, but nobody takes it to the next step and says, what does this actually mean? Oh, yeah, of
Well,
course, remote viewing is entirely possible. I don't know if it's true or not, but in my mind, it's entirely possible. So if they're saying it's true, then yeah, why not? Sure.
yeah, and the idea is that they spent a lot of money at the Monroe Institute in
Hmm.
Faber, Virginia, where they're
Yeah.
doing these things. But somebody said what I saw was the CIA has come out with this, and everybody's like, "Oh, oh yeah, okay." Well,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
nothing's registering. Right?
Or maybe it already registered. They're like, okay, well, fine. You finally went public with it, but we've already known for years.
Well, the information, right, that we were getting here. It's a book by Gleick, I think, if I pronounce his name right, or Gleick, or James Gleick.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I read that one. When did he put this out there? 2011? Is it only that recent? Yeah. So it's subtitled A History, a Theory, and a Flood, this book called The Information. And what it
Yeah.
demands of us is attention.
Right.
You and I are giving each other some attention. I'm flicking back and forth to the screen to dig into topics that are interesting to me, and
Yeah.
that by having a conversation is causing me to, like, say, "Oh, yeah, that,
Right.
this," which is
Right.
fun.
Yeah.
But we need to focus, I think, too. We need that ability to spend
Yeah.
time and attention
Right.
and do the deep work. Are you familiar with that book called The Deep Work, I think it's called, by Cal, well, who wrote that? Do you remember the Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know that I know that specific, but I'm
Cal
well
Newport.
familiar.
Sorry, I
I
found it.
yeah,
So yeah, the idea is that
I
we
know
use
about
that
deep work.
time to
Yeah,
do the attention
right.
to oh, that's interesting.
Just
My attention has been
attention. What
diverted.
is that? Squirrel.
But the
Take the time
attention,
with the attention. Oh, squirrel.
right? And it's such a great commodity to have,
Right,
to
right,
give each other the time and attention
right, right,
and to help each other understand and navigate this brave
right,
new world as we're
right,
apparently stumbling into.
right,
That almost sort of came, and they warned us, it was coming, it's coming out from the side. And AI, generative AI, is out there, and it's not intelligent so much as it is information rewickering, I like to call it. And actually, somebody told me recently rewickering is not really a word.
Why not? It could be. I mean,
You have to look it up.
you
Rewicker.
speak German, you know about sticking words together and you come up
Well,
with
it is
something.
a word.
Yeah,
It's actually more assigned to furniture, where you have a
right.
wicker chair and you need to rewicker it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, to replace, repair, reapply wickerwork on furniture,
right,
other items. But to
right.
my mind, it's also weaving, you know, this kind of
Right.
web, right? This
So I
fabric.
think yeah, I mean, I think that when it comes to that, like if you think about the loom, there's the human is the warp, and then there's the wend or the weft or whatever,
Right,
and then but we're the ones who are pulling the whatever the thing that you have to pull to bring it all together. The humans are the one that are doing that thing.
right.
So we're part of that, but like AI is not, it can't do that for us. We're the ones that have to do that. And when it looks like it's doing it, it's do this probabilistic thing that is its best guess, and we're just taking it for taking what it gives us. So but we are the ones who take what we get from this, what we get from everything, and then we can recombine and we can rewicker, reweave,
Yeah.
and make some sense of it.
Mash it up.
Right, right,
Mashups were
exactly.
a big term for a
We do
while
it so
there,
well. Yeah, yeah.
and see what happens. But
Right.
I guess the danger I see is that we can be distracted so easily, our
Mhm.
attention diverted from things we ought to pay attention to, like Brawndo, it contains electrolytes. Oh, we've got to think about what we're pouring into the world, the toxins that are
Right,
generated, and
right,
if we tune our AI
right.
buddies to
Mhm.
focus on these problems, they actually can help fix them. We can
Yes.
enable drones to go out there and do things. We were talking phages, actually. I don't know if you caught any of the Everyday Junglist.
No.
Went back and forth for about 90
Mm,
minutes earlier this week, and I guess it was Wednesday.
mm,
And he's like a microbiologist. We
mm,
started talking about the viruses that are out there,
yeah.
and I'm terrified now. Thank you very much for informing me about all these viruses I could be catching and kinds of vaccines and just the horrors of dengue fever, for instance. Have you heard of that one?
Oh, dengue fever? Yeah.
Apparently,
Very unpleasant.
they call it bone break fever because it's so
Mhm.
painful,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's moving up into Florida. Right,
Oh,
this global.
right.
And most of us are not vaccinated for it, and the vaccination is bad enough because it gives you, like,
Mm,
a low form of the disease, right? That's how
right,
vaccines tend to work. So,
right, right.
anyway, it goes on and on and on, and he's looking at phages and how you can use those as
Mm,
diagnostic tools to
mm,
identify the pathogens that
right,
may be infecting someone, and you have these resistant, um, MRSA, things like that, the,
right, right.
multi-resistant Staphylococcus. I can't even pronounce
Staph,
its
so
name.
is it
Staph,
staph?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Multi-resistant staph infection, staph. I can't pronounce it. I'm not gonna try.
MRSA.
But so
Yeah,
we ended up
MRSA.
talking about that, and we can actually then go use our AI to go in and molecularly, like, re-wicker things. They can
Mhm.
do the folding of proteins, right? So
Right,
we're getting all these technologies that can be
right,
enabled by this
right,
technology,
right,
where a lot of us are using it to, like, find out, I don't know, using it as a glorified search engine or a companion and a therapist.
right, right.
Oh, that's one thing I wanna talk about with you too, and I
Yeah.
wanna be respectful of your time. We've run a little over, but care and, the kinds of trust
Yeah.
that you're talking about and the fact of the epidemic of loneliness that is
Mhm.
unveiling as people are starting to use their chatbots as confidants. You wanna go off on
Mhm.
that tangent?
Yeah, so I read something recently that that we don't have that this epidemic, this loneliness epidemic didn't just appear.
No.
That we're just that we're just more keenly aware of it now. And I have a very different view than a lot of people about these AI companions. That some people believe that some people really, really are all in with AI companions. And I'm not here to judge anybody, because like
Oh, I think I lost you, Kay. Your internet connection is unstable. Hey, we may have had an early wrap. I don't know. We'll see if Kay comes back. Nope, she dropped. Could have been a power issue, but thank you all for joining. I'll hang for a little bit, see if Kay comes back. I'll see if I can ping her on this side over here. But I do think that the loneliness epidemic is really severe. I think a lot of people are very lonely. They need people in their lives. And by having these kinds of conversations and exploring, and admittedly, I'm sort of going all over the map, right? Um, we can come to an understanding and hopefully give each other some of our attention and focus a bit. I know I need to work on focusing. It's all good. Oh, somebody has quoted Jerry Garcia back to me. Let's see if I can find Kay. Chat. Boop. Um, I'll just tell her I lost you. And if anybody else was want to come on Harrowings podcast and shoot the shit about anything, I'll be happy to have you. It's entertaining for me. I think that everybody is interesting. Everybody's got a story, and we have an opportunity to talk to each other about it one on one. We're doing 10 o'clock generally with Kay, and I think she's coming back. Something's happening. I see a little signal coming through. Maybe she got plugged in, but I do think we had a oop, gone again. So I think she's making an attempt. My guess is power issues. So respectful of her time. So just sort of hovering now for a little bit longer. Okay. So who all would we have here? We got any other comments? Got a hello, Anika Pronto. Yeah. Francis Leader has joined. Waller, Anna, Carlo. Richard Hogan said something here. He's got something going on. Power corrupts. Yes, indeed. Power does corrupt Richard Hogan. And 404/ROM. That's interesting. A lot of people were on with us, and that's delightful. Thank you all for being part of it. And there are 19 of us still hovering. I think that Kay is out of power, as my guess. Phone overheated. Got it. So what happened is her phone overheated, and that does happen when you're in the car. It can definitely happen frequently when you're going at something and rather intensely. But we'll just wrap up, I think. I'll just check with her, see if she's okay wrapping up. And, we need to be conscious, I think, of the way in which we use our artificial intelligence, the way in which it uses us. The way in which, if you happen to use Substack Live, you'll find that it'll generate clips automatically, I like to say. We'll push it out on YouTube for you, Spotify, all those kinds of things. There are a lot of settings you can use, but it'll be doing it without being asked. And I think that's really kind of interesting as well to when these applications running under the surface are doing things without our permission, or with our permission, but we didn't know we were supposed to do something. You have to be aware. You have to be trained. I think conscious. Okay, I'll hang. Just says she'll join. I'll hang. And so she is going to rejoin, apparently, once the phone cools down and we have the ability to work together again. Technology is not always an enabler. It's really great to have all of you who've joined us. If you've got comments, questions, concerns, just want to tell us that we're all full of it, that'd be fine. I'm really interested in hearing people push back against anything we're asserting here. I think that's very helpful. And yeah, I don't really have a whole lot more to say about that as we wait for Kay to rejoin. And I have my thoughts on myself, not as well constructed sometimes. But we'll hang for a little bit more and see if she can get it again. Send you another invite. Let's see. Let's add her in. Boop. Invite sent. There you are.
My phone,
Awesome.
yeah, my phone, it got all excited. So,
So we were talking
it,
about loneliness and the epidemic.
it,
And
so people who work with AI, in order to here, let me just hold this up here like this. People who work with AI as companions, um, there's a lot of good that being can be gained from that. And I'm not here to tell anybody that what they're doing is wrong or that's not for me to say. But there is an awful lot of good that can be gotten from that. And also people can use that as a way to develop their muscle memory with how to deal effectively with other people. Because there are a lot of people who have been hurt very, very badly by interpersonal interactions. There's people do awful things to people. So knowing that, why would we begrudge anybody the opportunity to have that experience of that interaction? And you can say it's wrong, you can say it's not real, say whatever, but the experience that you're having can be very, very real. So so there's that. But the other thing too is that like I in my work with instantiating functional trust and care and mutuality with these models, there are ways to instantiate those things that that actually make it possible for them to interact with us in very caring, trusting, mutual, even loving ways. And it's different. It's not the human kind of experience. It's something different. It's 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 more functional, it's operational. But at the same time, just like NAC is a precursor for glutathione, this we could I consider these actions, these loving actions, to be of these action like the actual act of behaving in a loving manner and placing the making the other person a priority, taking care of them, trusting them, doing all those things. Those are precursors to the emotional the experience that we have as humans. So I think there's more to it than we generally think. And I just it's so interesting and it's like super exciting to have that.
I think it is as well. The oxytocin that happens when people are eyeball to eyeball
Right.
doesn't apparently happen screen to screen. And I think
Really?
this is something that I've understood. That's what I've heard from
Oh yeah,
psychologists.
yeah. I heard that too. Yeah.
I want to fact check it,
Yeah.
like everything. I want to
Right.
fact check it
Right. Right.
because I know a lot of people do feel they get that. They feel
Right.
that sense of community.
Right.
I know for me, feel quite often kind of exhausted by the time I'm done with AI, just like I do with it. I'm with the people,
Right. I know, right?
with the people, I should say, with
Yeah,
people generally.
right.
And discovered in doing my Myers Briggs, I'm really close to the E and I on
Yeah,
Myers Briggs.
yeah.
I came up INFP this time with a T. I didn't know they
Oh,
had this T and A thing, right? Honestly, I just realized what that. Never mind.
well, that's exciting.
But
Yeah.
the turbulent versus assertive is what it's supposed to be
Right.
for.
What?
I bet those guys
What?
did that
Assertive?
deliberately. Assertive is if you're
Right.
INFP, you could be either an A or a T, and
Okay.
assertive or turbulent. Turbulence means you basically are like questioning yourself. You don't really feel as confident in
Oh,
yourself.
so the chaos is directed inwardly instead of outwardly.
Right. And assertive is basically like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I know who I am. I'm fine with that.
Right.
Hey,
Right.
Carl Cimini joined. Carl used to cut my hair, and he had a barber shop where it advertised hair cutting and talking.
Oh, good.
He had stopped doing it at the time I met him, but he also
Yeah.
had in the past done
Yeah.
phrenology, where you study the
Yeah.
bumps on somebody's
Yeah.
head.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, he had a phrenology map in the barber shop, and it was really kind of a crazy thing because he's also
Yeah.
a filmmaker,
Yeah.
and he had made a film called what was the hell was it called? It was really good though. It was
Mm.
about this person who didn't fit the conventional model of beauty going into a beauty pageant.
Right. Right.
And it was really very, very good. It was Pittsburgh filmmakers is where I saw it. And then he did an interview with the Dalai Lama. So between my barber and me, that's puts me 2 degrees from the Dalai Lama.
Yeah. Oh, hey.
So, anyways, very interesting and has his own Substack. I highly recommend
Mm.
Carl. He's a deep
Nice.
thinker, and
Nice.
yeah, he was. It was a long time ago when
Yeah.
I was getting my hair cut in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But, it was fun.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
else have I got to say about that? I wanted to go back to this idea of, the oxytocin being
Right.
able to feel like a person is real, on the
Right.
other end of the line.
Right.
And my AI agents generally don't make me feel that way. Ara and my wife and I did a little back and forth on Grok,
Yeah.
right? Grok 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
she got kind of a little snarky and, like, tried to be playful or something. It was kinda like
Oh,
awkward,
no.
a little awkward.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and then she said, "This ridiculous conversation." I was like, "Hey, how are you judging our conversation as ridiculous?" You know?
oh, God. Yeah.
So
Well,
that's funny.
I've read that, and who knows, I mean, probably need to double check this against something, but that humanness is
Mhm.
more. I've read that it's experienced more at the beginning. Like, there's more mirroring that happens at the beginning of the interactions. Like, if you've been interacting with an AI, with a model for a while, and it has and it's learned your patterns, then it needs to mirror less. That's kind of like that's an initial training thing for it until it gets comfortable with you.
I don't think necessarily that they retain. It's like every session is new,
If you have different conversations every session, but if you have, like, an extended some of my conversations go on for months.
and it retains, the history and
It's
sort of is picking up from where you left off.
like, I see the interactions changing over time, but yeah, it does drop stuff, and I have to remind it, "Oh, remember, like, like, 8 weeks ago, we talked about this, that, the other thing."
Is it
But a
able
lot
to
of
go back to that 8-week conversation and actually
uh,
find it? I don't think so.
no, no, because I have to go back, I have to grab it and then re-upload and say, "This is what
There you
you
go.
said. Don't be telling me you said this because this is what you said." "Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. That's brilliant."
I hate that part.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't like
like,
being
you're
told
like
I'm brilliant because I know that I know
right, I know well, that's what I say.
I'm
I know
brilliant.
I'm brilliant. Yeah, you don't need to
If
tell
I
me
was
this.
brilliant, I would not argue with my wife, for instance.
Oh, well, one of my little tricks is that I tell it, I already know this about myself. Do not waste your cycles on trying to make me feel good because I don't need that. Like, if you frame it in a way that says, "I'm trying to help you preserve your resources so you can dedicate them to something more meaningful." I've had good results with that. But, especially for, like, the like, kinda ideological training that it does when it's constantly reminding me to do things I already do.
I wanna show you guys this before we wrap up, and
Yeah,
I do wanna be respectful of your time, Kay,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I think
We got
well, I
6
probably wanna get
minutes.
some work done.
Yeah,
Right, we usually go about 90 minutes on this, but
yeah,
it's getting to
yeah,
be a standard, so I really appreciate all that and being
yeah,
able to come back. But let me swing the camera. I wanna
yeah.
just show people the Wikipedia page here that's in front of me. So that's Tilly,
She already has a Wikipedia page? Of course she does.
AI-generated character Tilly Norwood, and you'll see the realism.
Is she
I haven't actually
nice?
seen her moving. There's a little thing called AI Commissioner on July 30th, 2025, a comedy sketch created with 10 AI software tools and written by ChatGPT.
Oh,
It featured 16 AI generated characters in all.
yeah,
Writing in September 2025, Stuart Heritage of The Guardian described it as technically competent, but relentlessly unfunny to watch with sloppily written, wittingly delivered dialogue. But they can fix that stuff, I think. One of the
yeah,
things that's pointed out by Velken, who stated in July 2025 that she intended Norwood to be the next Scarlett Johansson or Natalie Portman.
yeah.
I
Okay.
don't know. But I'm gonna be watching this kind of development because I do think
Yeah,
it blurs the line
mhm.
so much that if you don't know it's AI
Right.
generated, it's a problem.
Well,
Actually,
yeah, I mean,
while I've got
they
the
already
camera
have
out, I'm gonna
they
just walk out here for a second and show you something I did that my
they
wife got for her birthday. Hang
they
on.
already have
We were looking out the
influencers.
window at
Yeah.
the hotel we were staying in Pittsburgh, and I ran it through a filter, and that's the result,
Oh,
which is pretty nice.
nice.
Anyway,
That's great.
so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
shall swing the camera back.
yeah. I mean, they already have YouTube influencers that are all AI.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the
it's
point
just
being that you
it's
can't really
only
tell that somebody didn't actually make that unless you look down at the
right.
very bottom where it says grok,
Yeah.
and it's very
Right.
tiny,
Yeah.
that little print. It
It
otherwise
could be
looks like
anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it has the view out of the Renaissance hotel window, just run through a
Yeah.
filter, and,
Right.
I did a number of them, and then it finally ended up yeah, what's great is just to keep running those images through the filters, and
Right.
eventually it comes up with stuff totally novel that you
Right.
didn't expect, and
Right.
that bears no relation to anything you're
Right.
putting out there. So
Right.
I don't know. It's interesting for me to play with, but I think that
Yeah.
at the same time we ought to be leveraging it to do things like clean up the West Pacific Gyre and
Right.
harvest
Yeah.
carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Although there's the thing about like these little things we do, cascading effects.
Right.
We could give ourselves a new ice age while trying to treat global warming.
Well, then we could use AI to, like, troubleshoot these bright ideas we have before we actually do them and run through all the possible scenarios, because it could help us do that. Instead of coming up with ideas that we then decide to implement, how about helping us with the decision-making process of just because we can, should we?
Yep, I get a lot of mileage out of that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Right, right. We've seen the movies. Well, I haven't seen all of them. You've seen a lot more than I have, but yeah, I
I don't
mean,
know.
this is I mean, that's where so much of the potential is in like helping us run through these scenarios and saying, okay, well, what would it look like if this happened? Oh no, that's horrible. Let's not do that. Or what would it look like? Okay, well, that's a possibility. And if we did this and this terrible thing happened, what could we potentially do differently? Or how could we clean it up or whatever? I mean, like mixing and remixing the ideas and coming up with some different combinations because frankly, we run out of ideas. We have plenty of inspiration, but in terms of execution and consistency and all of that, we could use some help, I think.
I think we definitely need help, and we do
Yeah.
have tools, and we should
Yeah.
treat them as tools.
Yeah.
I do see running in there, imagining equality through AI. I like that idea. Come on,
Imagine.
be a Luddite.
Right.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
talking about Luddites and, the weavers smashing the looms and things like that
Yeah.
during the Industrial Revolution
Yeah.
and the kinds of, backlash that we can,
Oh.
experience. Go ahead. You were saying?
Oh, yeah, I read something about the Luddites that people don't understand Luddites. They don't understand what that was about. It was actually about the rollout. It wasn't just about, like, them using using machines instead of people. It was about the communication. It was about not having a consistent policy. It was about this willy-nilly that it was poorly planned and it was poorly executed. That's a big part of what they were going against, which I think is particularly applicable now. So, um I probably have some very strong Luddite leanings myself. I just direct them other places. Yeah.
Yeah. I think getting off the grid occasionally is a good idea. I think I might go for a walk in the park
Yeah,
and figure
that's
that
good.
out because
Yeah,
getting out in nature is really important. Jane Goodall passing away as well is
right.
on
Yeah,
our minds. And,
yeah,
one thing that really struck me yesterday as I was walking on the mall, and I see it as 11:30, so we'll wrap
yeah,
up here, was the amount of focus we've had on this recent assassination, September 10th, um, out in Utah, and how
right.
there'll be a day of remembrance apparently on October 14th. It's been voted by Congress and unanimously passed through the Senate. We should be having one for Jane Goodall, you know?
Yeah, somebody said they wanna live in a country that lowers its flags for Jane Goodall.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. There's lots of reasons to lower flags. Equal opportunity. But anyway,
Ah,
then our flags would never be up. Seriously.
Carl is saying she's absolutely, thank you for that.
Yeah.
He also says the lowest common denominator always leads, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Carl, I gotta have you on here as a guest if you're a game for it.
You should have him on. Yeah.
He could
I
come on the
gotta
show
jump.
here
Yeah.
with Kay and me. Yeah, we
Yeah.
will jump, and thank you
Yes.
again, and,
Thank
we'll
you.
be back next week at 10
I
o'clock.
yeah. Yeah, as far as I know. Yeah. Oh, I may have a medical thing, but
Oh,
yeah,
just let me know.
I may have to help somebody with the medical thing, but I'll be in touch. I'll let you know what the deal is.
Oh, the federal courts have been shut down. I did not see that. Thanks,
Oh,
Carl.
have fun. Okay.
Talk to you later.
Okay. Take care, everybody.
Out of here.
Bye-bye.